Top U.S. intelligence officials have testified to Congress that Russian hackers allegedly interfered in their country's 2016 presidential election.
In addition to stealing information from the Democratic National Committee and the Clinton campaign and cherry-picking what information it leaked to the media, the Russian government also created and spread fake news and conspiracies across the vast social media landscape. At the very least, the effect of Russia's actions was to erode the faith of the American people in our democratic institutions.
We decided to take to the streets of Washington, D.C. and ask Americans if they felt like their minds were being manipulated as part of a sinister Russian plot to control American politics. Did Vladimir Putin influence your decision on who to vote for?
Not at all. Not at all.
No one impacted my vote except for me.
No, I was pretty solid on my decision pre all the Vladimir Putin drama.
He called me directly, Putin did, and told me how I should vote. No, I think that's the biggest farce.
It sounds like the information reported through WikiLeaks is truthful, so that's another opinion I have, that I believe that more than I believe Russia had anything to do with it. I haven't seen evidence to that.
Could the Russians have maybe controlled your mind without you knowing about it?
I don't believe so.
I'm sure that, like, they've influenced the election in certain ways, but not mind control. Oh my God, no.
If that hack hadn't taken place, that wouldn't have affected your vote at all?
Would not have affected my vote at all.
I don't know that what happened to the DNC qualifies as a hack. I mean, it's more of just a random phishing scam that most of us see every day.
The American intelligence services say that the American public's minds were manipulated by Russia, and that's why people voted for Trump. Do you buy it?
Not at all.
I just think that they might have had their hand in it. I don't think they influenced the election that much. They might have had their hand in it and they tilted it another way, but there was a little bit of just innuendo, I guess.
I think that there are a lot of other things that were as work it well. You know, you have a weak candidate, things along those lines. So I think that there are many other factors that played a larger role.
Americans really don't feel like Russia is controlling their minds, but their elected officials seem to disagree. Testimony didn't shy away from beating the old dead horse about propaganda. The name of this network, RT, was even dropped as a main source of alleged disinformation.
And of course, RT, which is heavily supported by, funded by the Russian government. Whatever crack they could, fissure they could find in our tapestry, if you will, they would exploit it.
Perhaps the intense scheme of Russian thought manipulation is so deeply entrenched in the American psyche that average people don't realize how brainwashed they actually are. Or perhaps this constant harping that Russia is somehow responsible for the presidential election results is a great example of disinformation. Caleb Maupin, RT, Washington, D.C.
As we just heard, some Americans are not that convinced that Russia directly influenced the results of the election. That's while the U.S. National Intelligence Chief himself confesses even he doesn't know whether Moscow changed the outcome. He's saying this, he said this while being quizzed by Senator John McCain.
They succeeded in changing the results of an election, which none of us believe they were. That would have to constitute an attack on the United States of America because of the effects if they had succeeded. Would you agree with that?
We cannot say, they did not change any vote tallies or anything of that sort.
Yeah, I'm just talking
we have
about,
we have no way of gauging the impact that, certainly the intelligence community can't gauge the impact it had on choices the electorate made. There's no way for us to gauge that.
Well, social media users have taken to Twitter following claims that Russia influenced American elections through hacking and propaganda, wondering if any solid proof will ever be provided. Some say that U.S. intelligence officials are incensed that this channel's towing a different line from the mainstream media and potentially managing to beat them at it. Well, a cybersecurity expert, John McAfee, explains why he thinks it's ludicrous to accuse Russia of hacking the elections.
It's propaganda intended to incite the American people to anger toward Russia for some reason, or our intelligence community is so ignorant and naive that they should all be replaced. And here's the kicker. Here is why it cannot possibly be an organized nation state. Because the hack on the DNC used a piece of malware a year and a half old, and there have been many updates since then. Do you actually believe the Russian intelligence services spend all their time improving their malware, and then when you do an important attack, go, well, I used that thing from a year ago, it only had a few bugs. No, this was done by an independent one-person kid that downloaded the software. And by the way, the software came from two different organizations or they're claimed to be two different organizations that are related to the Russian government. That's absolutely false. They're called APT-28 and APT-29, and those designations come from FireEye, people who watch all the hacking groups. In truth, it's only one organization, and it's composed not just of Russians, but of people, kids all around the world. You can go on the dark web, download the software, hack somebody, and so this kid had obviously downloaded it a year and a half ago and had not bothered to update it. Please, this is not an organized hack, and certainly not a nation state that did this.
On Friday, Trump's set to be briefed on evidence uncovered in the Russian hacking investigation. But he's already questioning why somebody gave the details of a top-secret report to the media. Plus, since it's been confirmed the FBI never even looked at the Democratic National Committee's allegedly hacked computer servers, why they're so sure the cyber attacks took place at all. An article claims that no government entity actually ran independent forensic analysis on the DNC systems. The FBI instead reportedly chose to rely on information outsourced to a third-party tech company.